I wouldn't say it's a no-brainer move for the pandemic. I would say that it's the last resort kind of thing. Like if your office is closed, like what else would you do? And so they would be more or less kind of pushed into that if they wanted to continue practicing. The guidance that I would have for physicians in general is, one of the first use cases for the telephone, as developed by Alexander Graham Bell, I've heard, at least is rumored, that he wanted to engage with his physician remotely, right? And so, based on that, and again, this is just from what I've heard. I don't know exactly. I'm not an expert in technological history to that degree. But from my point of view, the telemedicine's been around forever. I mean, for as long as we've had telephones where you could call your doctor and say, hey, such and such is happening, should I come in? They'll say yes, no, go do this or that or the other. That's no different than what we're doing right now, with the exception is that we have more advanced technology with regards to video conferencing. You have some companies that work on medical devices where you can remotely grab data. All sorts of little gadgets and gizmos. And so for those wanting to go into telemedicine, I would say that the best thing that you could do for yourself in terms of understanding the legality, the ethics, the morality, the safety, is to really relate it to a telephone and say, if someone called you on a phone and said, hey, I needed help with this, that, and the other, what would you do? And that's what you would do in telemedicine, right? So if someone said, hey, like my appendix, I'm having like horrible chest pain, should I wait it out? You're like, no, you got to clearly go to the hospital for this, right? But if they have like, a little bit of a rash or, any number of other things, you can manage that to some degree over a telephone, then you can do that over telemedicine, right? Because a lot of the questions that people come to me with are, what is safe and what isn't safe. And the laws, as I've seen them, don't really define that. There's very loosely kind of defined. I mean, there's some very discrete things that they'll say you can and can't do, and this is what constitutes valid and this is, not valid. But for the most part, in terms of actual delivery of care, the law doesn't speak to anything about, what do you do in case of a heart attack? What do you do in case of a rash or, a red eye or a cough or something like that? It's really up to the physician. And that's more or less kind of a moving target, or at least it'll seem like it, because every case is different. And so, a 19-year-old and a 69-year-old calling with the same exact complaint, same exact wording, same exact duration, same exact everything. The only difference is the age. You'd be like, you know what? Like, you're going to treat a 19-year-old one way, you're going to treat the 69-year-old person the other way. And you can't plan for these things. So really just asking yourself, like, that's a question that I ask myself when, people at my own company and then other companies say, should we do this or should we not do this? I say, what would you do if the person came to you over phone? What would you do in person, right? And sometimes it'll be like, and what you have to do to I guess reconcile those things is to be able to translate that as much as possible, right? So for mental health, like, do you physically actually have to lay your hands on a person? No. Do you have to see them? Probably yes. Okay, do it over video.